And now, without further ado, let's jump into our conclusions. If someone could help me with moving the slides. So yes, first of all, down below there you see where the digital version of report is available. Please visit our website and you will have free access to the report and the conclusions in it. So why this report? Why we decided to do this report? We understood that actually there is a lot of information available in Latvia about fintech, but it's not in a kind of one-stop shop format. We have several authorities who are doing something. We have several ecosystem participants who are doing something. We have many, many talented people who are contributing, but there is not one united space where to find what is on trend, where we are at the moment, and where are we moving. And that's why we decided to create one place where you can find information on industry data. We also collected quite a lot of information on the regulatory framework, available support mechanisms, trends and latest success stories, and also feedback both from the industry and also from the policymakers. Who do we think the report could be interesting to? We hope that this will be a helpful tool for the investors who are looking where to contribute to business development. We believe that this report can be helpful also both to newcomers in the industry and also mature participants. Also, definitely the regulators and policymakers can draw, hopefully, some inspiration for further work and development of the regulation and the environment altogether. And of course, the other ecosystem contributors, because we had quite a lot of help from consultants and experts who are working on in the industry, and that's why it might increase further information about the industry. Somewhere it stopped. If we are speaking about the landscape, then we see that the most saturated segment is payments, service providers. Then the payments segment is followed by data and IT solutions. Then P2P and crowdfunding, and crypto and blockchain, and fintech lenders. These are the main groups of market participants that we see in Latvia. We also looked at the data about newly incorporated fintechs, and there, unfortunately, we see that if we compare the data between 2017 and 2021, we see that there is quite some drop in newly incorporated fintechs. It is rather difficult to say what is the main reason why it could be like that. One most likely is the impact of pandemic and crisis, and also impact of war. But what we believe is the other impact is that we see that there is a trend that fintech has always developed in sectoral manner, and it has been always driven by by first innovation and then regulation. And what we have seen is that whenever the regulation comes in place, then the segments become more mature and more filtered. So that might be one of the reasons why we see that there is not such an active movement in newly incorporated fintechs. And that is something to think about and monitor in the future what will happen after we have seen this transformation from the regulatory side. If we look at the financial data from Lugesoft, then you will find in the report much more financial data, but we just looked at some few main trends. Where we, of course, also see that there has been some impact by the economical crisis. We see that the industry is regaining its force in general. And also what is very positive and hopeful, if we look at the feedback from the industry, we did a survey of market participants, and all the market participants have a very positive outlook to industry, and they're looking forward to further growth and development. So we believe that this should not be looked at as something negative, what we see here. We also collected some feedback from market participants on what are the current trends of the industry. And there we see that, of course, open banking and open finance with all the opportunities that are coming out of availability of data. Fintechs are looking into developing new services and offering new opportunities to customers. Automation and robotization already plays quite a big role and will play even bigger role in the future. With the two both mentioned, of course, cybersecurity and fraud prevention comes also front. And fintechs are paying quite a lot of attention to tackle these problems. Then we see that gamification comes in play both for financial literacy tools, both for how fintechs are offering the services. Of course, ESG, this three-letter combination, will play a significant role as for business in general, but of course for fintechs as well. Then with the licensing of crowdfunding platforms and sort of similar platforms that we have specific market participants in Latvia, we see that P2P and P2B sector is basically shifting into regulated financial instruments market. And of course, as mentioned, financial literacy is what also fintechs mention as something they pay attention to. From the supervision perspective, we see that we in Latvia have basically two regulators that are in one or other way involved with the fintechs. Sort of the main institution is Finance and Capital Markets Commission, but also Consumer Rights Protection Center is supervising one specific sector, and actually have gained quite a lot of experience in that over some 10 years period already, actually, when they are supervising fintech. So yes, Consumer Protection Center is supervising consumer lending leg of fintech, which is basically currently, I would say that this is the most mature segment in fintech. And the Financial and Capital Markets Commission is supervising all the other market participants in fintech. And since Latvian financial system had to undergo sort of capital reconstruction, also the Commission experienced quite some transformation. And we have seen that it has now received quite a positive feedback from the industry as a result. And as one example, we can mention that after improving the licensing process, there is this one perfect example now of the first crowdfunding license that was issued only 3 months after the applicant submitted the documents for licensing, which received very good feedback from industry. So I will share some more feedback from the industry about the Finance Capital Market Commission, and what I heard in one other forum that, for instance, Crowded Hero shared in their panel discussion that working with the regulator was like working with another fintech, just from the public sector. Which is, I think we don't really hear such compliments about regulators very often. So good job there, Marine. Then some other positive insights from the regulatory side. From the regulatory side, what we see is that we possibly have the best stock option regulation in the world. That is what the industry is saying. That is very helpful not only to fintechs but for startups in general. Also, what the industry is saying that yes, we have now a strict and mature AML regulatory framework. But that offers much more stability in the future, and we can expect then that, for instance, when MiCA regulation will come in effect, that our market participants will be subjected to significantly less changes in the regulatory network than for some other countries, for instance. And then, of course, in the future, we can expect some developments around MiCA regulation, DORA, and other acts coming into effect. We also have some support mechanisms in place for development of fintech, both from Latvian Investment and Development Agency side, where you see that fintechs can receive some support for exporting services and knowledge sharing and training. And also, I would specifically like to note the mechanisms, the support mechanisms that Finance and Capital Market Commission is offering. Marine already touched them shortly, but the general feedback from the industry really is that both Innovation Hub and Regulatory Sandbox are very valuable tools that help market participants to approach the licensing process where needed, and also consult when they want to introduce some innovative services. And also, as a separate tool, I would like to mention Securities Sandbox, which helps those market participants who don't have so much experience with going public to actually undergo kind of like a vendor's due diligence with a team of experts provided by Finance and Capital Markets Commission and NASDAQ, and prepare themselves for being listed. If we speak about the capital availability and growth, then Most of the data is not publicly available because mostly startups in fintech are funded through private means and through loans, which are not publicly disclosed and accounted for. So these are just some representative data. But the trends that we see here is that if we look at the growth that then we see that Latvian fintechs grow through acquisition, and they are on the map of bigger market players, and therefore we are being noticed, which is a sign of quality. There is crowdfunding options in place, and for more mature market participants, we also see that IPO and bonds is quite widely already used instrument. Opportunities for where can we still improve and become better. I chose to include still the speed of reacting to regulatory and also legislatory needs. That is one tendency that we receive from the market. Then also I have received a promise from the Latvian Investment and Development Agency that they will also look into specific fintech-oriented state support tools. Also, what basically everyone in the fintech industry is saying, that easy access to the banking payment infrastructure would be very nice to have in Latvia. And this is one very interesting slide where we can see that we have quite a lot of space for growth in blockchain and crypto. So that is something that we can definitely look into in the future. And also, if we speak about the challenges for the growth altogether, like feedback from the market, then we see that the companies are basically dealing mainly with planning the international expansion, product and IT development, and as one of the struggle that is mentioned is also talent availability, and of course regulatory compliance and securing enough funding for the growth. So that was in short the main key takeaways, but there is much more information in the report. And last but not the least, I really wanted to thank everyone who helped us in preparing this report. And in order to not to forget anyone, I will just leave this on here. And we are really grateful to okay, just to name few biggest contributors, Saran and KPMG, BDO Law, who helped us to summarize all the regulatory framework and then tax regime. And of course, many thanks also to Finance and Capital Market Commission and Marine, who helped with the big chunk of everything that is related to undergoing the licensing process, and of course thank you everyone who participated with sharing their insights and feedbacks.